Western Conference Podcast here once again. And I'm trying to bring you guys all these guests. We're trying to do, musicians. We're trying to do artists. But I also want to do entrepreneurs, and my brother that's a tattoo artist. Give it up for Lala Ellsworth one time. How you doing, brother?
You see that new Jokes Up Trappuccino jersey on me right now?
See, we're going to get into that.
You see that new one on me?
But before we get into that, I want to make sure we get a proper introduction to you because, you are a tattoo artist extraordinaire, and now you are a cannabis entrepreneur. So we got to start with the tattooing first. Because if you guys don't know, look up at his Instagram, Lala Ellsworth. Tell us how you even got into that whole story, because we need that story.
Anytime I talk about how I got into tattooing or anytime, I have to preface it by saying Fred motherfucking
Frost. Shout out Fred Frost too, man.
That's the Samoan Da Vinci of our generation.
Yeah, if you guys don't know who Fred Frost is, Google him.
Yeah, it's disappointing if you don't know.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
bad for your children.
Because you guys are both at Frost City Tattoo in Utah.
Yeah. So it's crazy. So Fred, I just drink kava.
Yeah.
This kava network that some of you guys don't know about this kava network.
See, that's why I'm mad that Mustafa's on vacation right now, because
that's how I got to know West. Yeah.
You guys have your own language in kava too.
Oh yeah. So, but it all started with kava. This little network of kava. I used to drink kava with all Fred's cousins, and then I would draw on our buckets that we would drink kava out of, and then Fred would come, and I already knew who Fred was, but he would come and they'd be like, "Hey, who drew on that bucket?"
Wait. So this is just from art on a bucket? That's how you started this whole?
You bet your sweet ass it is, Cisco. So basically, he sees the bucket. It's got this badass tribal on it. He's like, "Hey, who did that?"
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, that young boy, Lala. He comes over here sometime." And then he started talking to me about it. He's like, "Hey, you ever thought about tattooing?" And I was like, "Man, my mom will whoop my ass."
Yeah. But even before that, how did the art love come for you before you even start that?
Dude, you know what's crazy? I'm big.
Yeah.
And everyone assumes that I would be playing football and sports and stuff.
The stereotype.
I lost interest in it. And it was weird because I'm big as shit, and then hey, we about to go run this game. I'm like, hell yeah, I'm gonna doodle on this piece of paper real quick.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So you was a doodler?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, my mom got programs from church from 97
that you were writing on.
That I drew on.
Art.
Yeah. So I just been in it.
Because you being a doodler, some are in prison and they write on the envelope. So it's there's a big difference.
Yeah, but I'm not a criminal. Where's my camera? Where's my camera? I'm not a criminal. Yeah, but no, that's how I got into it. Fred just kind of saw something.
Yeah.
But it was crazy because I tried to describe it to people, but the only way I could really explain how Fred took me under his wing. Imagine if Steph Curry just came up to you and rolled you a basketball.
So he's like the epitome of tattoo
was like,
artists.
"Hey, let me show you how to ball." That's what Fred did to me, and it was crazy because at the time Fred didn't have to do shit for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He didn't.
He just kind of came in, and when you're an artist like Fred, you recognize art right away.
Oh yeah.
So for him to see that on the bucket, that was kind of "Hey, wait, who did this?" You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then I just got into it, and I never really gave it up, and then I don't know. My mom. Man, if you're a Tongan mother, you do not want your son to be covered in tattoos, have long hair, and look like a piece of shit like me.
Because that's the normal thing, for parents. They don't want the tattooed guy, because it's taboo.
I would almost go a step further and say immigrant parents, because my mom, she's like, I risked everything to come here to make sure that you guys have a better life.
Exactly.
And you're just going to throw it all away with this tattoos. Go to school, do this. And then I applaud my mom because I think she thought I was going to work at the bank or something. But.
See, and it's crazy though, because in our Polynesian culture, the tattooing is part of it. But I think the tattoos that they were worried about us getting was all the bullshit we was getting before the tribal.
Yeah, well, and then not only that, but then I think she just wanted the safest thing possible.
Yeah.
Everybody's go to school, go learn I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
They just want you to do I risked a lot to get here, find the safest,
you're gonna
most
get that
secure
story.
thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, but me, I'm a piece of shit. So I was like, live dangerous, baby.
Life's a risk car now, right? So you're doodling on kava buckets. Fred kind of sees that your artistry is there. What's the next step from there?
Man, you know what's funny is that, so at the time, Fred was just tattooing out of a private studio.
Yeah.
He didn't own a shop. But all along the way, he kind of had this chess move of man, you know what? I'm going to start hand-picking a few of these youngsters.
Little by little, he was trying to put it together.
Yeah, and so over time, then a couple years, so I would just go sit in with him, learn some stuff. I'd go home and fuck people up in my mom's basement. You know what I mean? Like I
so
wasn't
like practicing on people.
Yeah, definitely practicing.
How was the first gun looking like, though? Because there's always, you can tell a lot about an artist from their first gun.
Well, we call them machines.
Yeah.
So.
The tattoo machine. What was the tattoo machine looking like? The first one.
This thing was it was all Chinese stainless steel, baby. This thing was like as cheap as you can get it, and like barely even a tattoo machine. And this thing was like probably louder than your lawnmower. Like I was like, yeah. And I had
because I've seen cheap machines. My first one I've seen was with a Walkman. With an engine.
Oh, yeah.
And then those were like, the motor they were using for the Walkmans. I was like, we probably shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, that was when you still had to hold the CD player. Like, you still had to hold it like this. You want a tattoo with that?
Exactly.
You got to hold your CD player like this.
So the whole evolution of the machines kind of came from your first machine, and then when you started to take it serious, because you're fucking up on everybody.
No, yeah. So one of the things that I started realizing was that when I was young, I was like, oh, you got to make money to make a living.
Yeah.
I was seeing some of my friends, they were getting like 2 jobs, maybe 3 jobs, little side hustles. And then I figured out with tattooing, I was like, I don't need 3 jobs.
Yeah.
I just need to get good at this one
job.
At
the job. Yeah, exactly.
One job.
Yeah.
The better I get at this, I'm writing my own paycheck, baby. So I'm just like.
How old are you at this point?
I'm like early 20s. Like, yeah, I think I first.
And this is in Hawaii.
No, here in Utah.
Really?
Yeah, so after I graduated high school, so I grew up in Hawaii, and then when I came to Utah, that's where I met Fred.
Oh, okay. Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah. So, but when I was in Hawaii growing up, and like I was on MySpace.
Yeah.
MySpace.
Easy MySpace.
Dude, I remember that was where I first saw Bong.
Yeah.
Bong's
all the tattoo artists. So you were always a fan of the tattoo artistry.
Always. And then so by the time I came here, there was like, oh, this is my cousin Fred Frost, and I was like, I know who that is.
Yeah, exactly.
I know who that is.
Because they have the culture. The tattoo culture has its own culture.
Oh yeah.
And during the MySpace days, you're talking about people were putting like Bong, Fred Frost. That's when you started to see, because social media was still kind of brand new.
Yeah, and then like even like say with like the contemporary Polynesian tattoos, nobody was really stepping outside the box like that, like how Fred and those guys were doing, even like Bong, even Rich, and some of those other guys that were like the OGs of MySpace. But like Fred, so these are all things that like Fred Frost will probably never talk about, but like there's evidence maybe from pictures and stuff that Fred might have been one of the first persons like to do a sleeve.
Oh wow.
Kaulima's was like the shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Everybody was getting bands, but then nobody really stepped outside the box and like decided to bend it and turn it this way and turn it this way. And then arguably he might have been one of the first people to incorporate like shading and stuff. And then like the big Cali style like lettering, like the gangster style lettering inside of a tribal. There's a bunch of like,
and that all came from we're gonna have Fred Frost on the show too, but you guys can also look him up. But Fred Frost also had an art background.
Oh,
so a thing with him, like a lot of tattoo artists, they like doodling, but he actually went to school for this.
Yeah.
He went to school, he had an art, he went to San Francisco State, he went to when he did the Bay Area thing, and he kind of intertwined the art with people that was doodling into a tattoo. I think that's where his style came from.
Yeah, he took like black and gray, like Chicano stuff that's big out here in like Cali and everything. And then he went up to Art Institute in San Francisco and he got more sophisticated with it. But then there's a whole nother art culture up there.
Yeah.
So he's basically taking bits and pieces of everybody's like badass art culture.
Exactly. Especially in San Francisco, you have the taggers, you have all this graffiti and stuff up there. So you're taking elements from everything and you kind of just putting it into what an art was. Is that what you do now?
Yeah, man. I feel like I just kind of, I don't know. I'm kind of like just a mix plate, you know? I'll just kind of gather little bits and pieces and then whatever look dope, whatever fits the best for my clients or whatever. But I just kind of become a Rolodex. And then based on what my clients want or what they need, I'll just like go through my little Rolodex and be like, here's this.
You didn't always have the Rolodex. And you didn't always have the clients. When was the first tattoo to say, okay, this could be my living?
No, so the first time, so I'm tattooing at a street shop close by where I live.
Yeah.
And it's just like little small stuff. But at the time, I was sitting in with Fred tough. And then Fred finally came to me and said he was about to start his shop.
Oh, wow.
Or he was gonna. The wheels are turning now to start Frost City.
Yeah.
It was still a few years away, but I just remember he started talking about Frost City, and I wasn't on the lineup.
You were listening to it. You were like, "Ooh, I'm nowhere in that lineup."
No, he was just like, "Yeah, man, I'm gonna get Vilingata, Yams, Siliami, Yams 5700." But he's naming all these people, and I was like,
and you're hoping your name is coming up next,
and maybe one more guy, one more person.
So your name's not called.
No, it's not called it. And then eventually, that's what kind of put this little fire under my ass, and I started going for it. But then,
so you use it as inspiration.
Oh yeah, well, because the thing about Fred was I already knew that he wasn't like playing favorites.
Yeah,
he wasn't just gonna let me like jump in front of a parade. As
exactly.
they say. Like he's not just gonna let me.
You had to prove yourself at that point. Yeah,
exactly. So I ended up proving myself and doing all this extra stuff. But so about a year after that was when I started going ham.
Yeah.
Like I figured out this cool thing with social media where if I'm posting pictures all the time and I'm producing a lot of work, people are seeing my tattoos around town. All these people are having them at the grocery store, at the gym. And then I'm posting them on social media. And then this was like my big epiphany because I asked some of the boys, I'm like, hey, go look through my social media. Which one of those tattoos do you think was free?
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know. He's like, exactly.
Exactly.
They didn't know in the early days I was giving them motherfuckers away.
But I'm glad you brought that up because social media, I think personally, it made it so much easier and it structured so much for you artists to showcase your work.
Yeah, anything. Well, because say with social media, if I'm selling something, I need a product to sell. Absolutely. If I'm not tattooing nobody, how can I sell them something I don't even have? So sometimes the boys would come in, they would buy me a burrito.
Yeah.
And then I go post their tattoo, and everybody just assumes that guy paid full price.
Exactly. That was at least 50. I was like, no, that was a burrito. That was a burrito that I got.
But they don't know that.
Yeah, exactly.
They just see the quality of work, and then I get time in the saddle to get better, and then I got a guy walking around who's a living, breathing billboard. And then, so that was like my marketing strategy for a long time where, people were like, oh man, you're doing this piece and piece after piece and all this stuff. And I was like, little do you guys know that guy didn't pay me shit.
See, but I think that's that's part of the journey. That's part of the story because I think and I tell this not just for tattooing and not for art, for artists, for musicians and all that. Without social media nowadays, it was so much harder as a tattoo artist back in the day to not. What work do you do? So you have to kind of like call one of your friends. Hey, come show them your tattoo.
Yeah.
Now it's like look at and you guys are doing it so it's dope because you guys are making mini movies out of these things now.
Man, you have a whole catalog of. I'll meet a stranger. And then they'll just see like my Instagram tag on the back of my phone. They'll look it up, and my entire catalog is right there. And like, oh damn, you him, bro, you him. I was like, you bet you.
And like the catalog of work that you guys have, because I tell a lot of these tattoo artists, these people that are trying to come up on social media, if you use social media the right way, that's gonna actually help you in the long run. It could really be a good tool for y'all.
Dude, it's not just tattoo, but like, so based on like in the world we live in today, almost all the information that we get is from this little screen right here.
Social media.
If you can dominate this much screen with whatever you're selling, whatever you're putting out there, you'll own the world.
Yeah.
Because it costs a lot of money to get a commercial on TV. It don't cost shit to press post
I
on
always
your
say
Instagram.
These little screens are more valuable than billboards now. Because they're not looking up, they're looking down all the time.
Yeah, you gotta be you have to be able to grab attention, you gotta be able to educate them somewhat, you have to entertain them, all these little things, or else they'll just scroll right past you. So you kind of have to,
But I'm glad you brought that up because for a younger artist, for a younger musician that's listening to this right now, your advice by telling them dominate that screen there, but there's a way of doing it as well because content is key right now.
Yeah, definitely. Man, so the funny thing is like, so with like my TikTok. Yeah. Dude, I don't know. TikTok, I did not care.
I'm with you. I didn't know either.
I did not care to be like TikTok famous or like Instagram famous. Yeah. Dude, but my TikTok is crazy. Like so when I first started using TikTok, I was just like, let me just use it because it's a new platform.
Absolutely.
And I assumed that it was just little kids on there.
Same shit here.
So I literally open every one of my videos as I say, what's up, TikTok, you fucking delinquent? Yeah. Because I was like, it's a bunch of kids on here. But then that became like this weird catchphrase. So I'm on my flight and the stewardess lady, she's coming up, she's like, are you the fucking delinquent guy?
And that's how crazy it is, bro.
I was in LA, people stopping me at the restaurant. Oh, you're the fucking delinquent guy.
It's crazy how TikTok took over because I'm still new to it, But I put one video up, I think it was when I started the podcast, and it just went viral. And I'm like, wait a minute, what's all these likes? What's all these? I'm like, okay, so this is another platform that people, not that they're getting bored of Instagram, but this is something new. You know, everybody likes that new car smell.
Yeah.
So TikTok was like, okay, I thought it was just for the kids, but shit, if you master TikTok, that can help your business 10 times fold.
Yeah. Well, and then the reason why I jumped on TikTok was because it was like the new frontier.
Yeah.
But one of the things that like we kind of figured out early on in TikTok is that, say with like Vine or or even like Instagram when it first started, there's market share in these social media platforms.
Shit.
And at the time, TikTok didn't have there was no like bosses in TikTok. So if you were to get into TikTok at the right time, by default, you own a good market share.
Exactly.
Because there's no other bosses. There's nobody
and
competing.
that's why I kick myself every day because I got into the TikTok late. Yeah. And then like just how you said it, if you were at the forefront of this new platform, you were like the dude.
Oh yeah. So like I kind of got in early and that's what helped me a little bit too. And then I don't know. It's funny because I see a lot of people that do a lot of there's a lot of production value in their posts. I'm a piece of shit. Dude. I just record one.
Because dude, there are people that make a living off making TikTok videos. So it's a whole production thing now. They got cameras here, cameras there, and they're doing it over and over. But when it's organic the way you had it, when it's organic to your business and it just happens, I think those, I mean, it's kind of hard to say with who's watching it, but I think those get the more organic and valuable assets to your company, right?
Yeah, like it's funny because so say with like my organic following is I'm pretty, like I swear a lot, you know, I'm not exactly what you would call a role model, but somehow I became a role model. And it's because I just put out this organic, I don't know, you could content, whatever you want to call it. But then it was funny because like all these people who I'm just a piece of shit. I just post whatever. And then I had no idea like there's these young people and entrepreneurs and stuff. And they're just like, do you know how inspiring it is to watch you do whatever you want and you made it work?
Because you're talking their language at that point,
it's not, and I'm like, man, I'm trash. You know, like I don't.
But there's kids that resonate with that attitude to be like, I'm trash too. Wait, he made it cool.
Yeah,
to
but
say that
he made it. You made it work.
Yeah,
you know, instead of like, you know, because I grew up in the generation of where if you looked anything like me, behaved like me, whatever, you were going to be a deadbeat.
Yeah.
You were going to be a dirtbag. You were going to be a piece of shit.
That's the beauty of it.
And look at me, piece of shit. Hard right
Making
now.
bread and doing this thing. But see, we're talking about Frost City Tattoo. We talked about your humble beginnings as a tattoo artist. But that kind of opened up your entrepreneurial shit because you're learning how to do the business part of tattooing, right?
Yeah.
And at that point, you're kind of just saying, okay, there could be something more.
Oh yeah, that was so one of I think that was it's crazy, dude. So I started this little Young LB, my fellow Tongan brother. This is like almost the same thing with Fred Frost. He was someone who was at the top of his game and decided
in the cannabis world. Yeah,
he was like, hey,
shout out Young LB. Yeah,
you know, come fuck with me. You know, and same token where he didn't have to do anything for me. He just maybe he saw some dog in me, some hustle in me, and he was like, hey, let's
thing that Fred Frost seen in you.
Yeah, so I grew up with his some of his security or his actual first cousins, and so I grew up with them in Hawaii. And then I ended up tattooing his head of his security. And then I brought up this like cool idea for like a strain. Yeah. And I told him, I was like, man, everybody want to go with the exotics and cannabis, like the wrapper weed. But a lot of guys like the fruity profile, like flavor profile.
Yeah, flavor profile.
So like the runts and stuff. But I was like, man, what if we went savory? You know, what if we went like creamy, like more like a cheesecake? Yeah. Or like a...
And the ideas were going at that point. Yeah.
Iced coffee. And
exactly.
I said, man, let me build a strain around like a, caramel iced coffee flavor profile.
Like a Starbucks.
Yeah, and call that bitch Trappuccino.
And that's how Trappuccino was born.
You want a honey, let me know.
See, but even before the inception of Trappuccino, and it goes back to bringing up Young LB was an artist, a rap artist. Yeah. So it's funny because before he even did the runts, before he even did the whole cannabis thing, everyone was just smoking and being a rapper. I remember doing a few shows with Young LB when he was a lot younger, and I kept telling him, and I tell artists now, you don't have to kind of like go towards the Polynesian demographic. And I noticed that a lot of artists were. I said, bro, stay in this cannabis lane because I'm telling you, that shit's gonna blow up. He probably don't remember that, but I was telling a lot of these guys, stop catering to the Polynesian demographic.
Dude, I might get canceled with this, but like, so one thing I like with Trappuccino, right? A lot of guys, like I told like everyone on my team and all the people I do stuff with, I was just like, hey man, I want Trappuccino, like as far as like a demographic, I'm not trying to rat hole myself and just attack one small
You don't want to pigeonhole the small group.
I want to cast the widest net possible. Yeah. So we picked a logo, we picked branding, we picked all these stuff that's cool to any demographic by race, gender, whatever. You know what I mean? I got thugs out there smoking out an iced coffee bag right now. You know, they ripping open.
And it's part of the culture now.
Yeah, but like it's cool to everybody. And I love my Polynesian people, but I was like, man, if I were to make my cannabis or the merch is what's big too. But I'm like, if I were just to cater to this small group of people, and let's be honest, they don't want to spend no money.
No, exactly.
You know what I mean?
And that's why, and I don't want people who watching this to kind of say like we're downgrading this, because we're not downgrading the culture. We just know, and nobody else is going to say it, is that Polynesians don't spend money.
Yeah, they want to support, but they want to support with your money.
Yeah,
they want to gamble with house money.
And that's why I keep telling these people that are either an artist, either in cannabis and whatever they're doing, stop saying I have to do it for the Polynesian people. Yeah. Because I mean, as being in this business for over 20 years, they're gonna follow you wherever you go. Yeah. Not because you cater to the Polynesian culture and all that. You're already that. You're already Tongan. I'm already Samoan. It's all gonna already fall into place. So we don't have to keep saying, "Hey, I'm Samoan. I'm doing this."
Yeah, you just being successful is what you need to do for your people. But like, if you were to base an entire business around your people, it's
going to be pigeonholed for your people.
It's rough because like everybody who's not your cousin is all of a sudden your cousin.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
And we do that with athletes. When Troy Polamalu does something good, Junior say, "Oh, that's my uncle. That's my cousin." Yeah. So you know, and that's kind of like the going joke in the Polynesian thing. Whenever there's a famous Polynesian to a Tonga that's my cousin. Oh, you know, we say it jokingly, but in actuality, in everything we do, like you know, with what Jay Boog's doing, what Common Kings are doing, I keep telling everybody, you know, what advice you have. It's like, bro, stop catering yourself to the Polynesian demographic. They're going to follow you wherever you go. Yeah. So that's why you being a tattoo artist, it's not just because you do Polynesian tattoos. You don't just do that. You just happen to be in that realm. Yeah. And it opened up other doors for you.
But I love my people.
Absolutely.
That's for sure.
Don't get it wrong.
Sure.
I already know somebody's going to take this clip and be like, Cisco don't like polys. Nah, it ain't even like that. Lala and Cisco talking shit about the polys.
Cancel.
Absolutely not.
Cancel.
That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is stop catering to them. Do it for everybody, and you'll be surprised because you know what happens? The Filipinos, the Mexicans, the blacks, the whites, they always say, oh, that's a Polynesian thing. It's cool. I'll let you guys have that. Then they kind of draw themselves away from it. They're kind of like, oh, that's a poly thing. Nah, stop doing that because I'm going to cater to everybody and be like, this is for everybody. So Trappuccino, for example, that's a universal brand.
Everybody, you know, anyone can like it. And then, so like if we were in the business of like, I don't know, doing what was the best for our people, then it's not a business, it's a hobby.
Absolutely. Come on, say it again, Lala. Say it again.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like if we wanted to take care of our Polynesian people, that's a hobby. Yeah. But this is a business. You know what I mean? So you have to do what's best for business. It's hard to, you know what I mean?
But then you get those people, oh, okay, he's doing it for the business. He's a sellout. I've seen them all my whole career. Oh, Cisco thinks he's too good for the poly. I'm like, nah, I'm just doing what I'm doing. But you're going to get those. Like I tell these people, you're going to get these haters all the time. Like, if you guys are listening to that, that means that you're going to fall backwards in what you're going forward. Yeah. But what I tell these kids is like, dude, if you don't have haters, you're not doing nothing.
Yeah. And then, well, like, you know what's funny? I feel like I might have haters, but they're not really that loud.
Because they're irrelevant to you.
Yeah. I'm like, because like, and like, man, everybody's gonna be like, man, they really tearing up these Polynesian people. Just to be fair,
be clear.
I love Polynesian people. Yeah. And I indirectly support 10, 15 different families. So don't say I don't love my people. I employ my people.
No, absolutely.
I'm trying to get to a point where I can really throw something back for y'all to like really do something. But if y'all, you know, if everybody...
And that's why I'm kind of happy what Young LB did, what you did. Like, he went with the runts. He didn't make it a Polynesian thing that, runts was Polynesian. You know what I mean? And everybody that kind of went through it, they didn't just have to make it a Polynesian thing, if you know what I mean. So when you did Trappuccino, I'm like, perfect. It's universal because everyone tells me, how do I start a brand? Don't make it for one separate part of people, one people. Yeah. Make it for everybody.
Yeah, and then it was funny because I wasn't trying to like have a target demographic.
Weed smokers, that's it.
No, well, because like you know, I'm a real simple man and I'm a real solid piece of shit, and I was just like, we don't target this people. I just like just make it dope.
Yeah.
If it's cool,
just make it dope,
if
man.
If it's cool, that's universal,
exactly.
baby. You know, anybody
being cool and being dope, it resonates with any nationality.
You know what I'm saying? Any gender, any race. But I was like, if it's cool, it's, you know, everybody will fuck with it. But yeah, so it's crazy. So June 19th last year, we officially launched, which was the same day that LB opened the grand opening of his
Jokes Up one in
the Plaza.
Okay, got it.
Clothing store in downtown LA. Tongan owns a clothing store and plaza in downtown LA.
Come on, man.
Across the street.
Unheard of.
Dude.
Unheard of.
And then this is another crazy thing. So that was when we launched, right? That was June 19th. And then this year, June 18th, one day
from the year,
we went legal in the dispensary.
Come on.
June 18th, 1 day shy of a year, and we did it inside of the Jokes Up ice cream dispensary, which is also Tongan owned. Yeah. That's LB's.
And I don't think people watching know the severity and know the magnitude of what that means in this demographic and in this whole cannabis world.
Well, let me whoop your head again.
Yeah, exactly.
So LB, he's got his clothing store in downtown LA, and then now he has the first of a few. There's more coming. The first Jokes Up ice cream dispensary that's in Studio City on Ventura. So now, based on the legislation and laws that are in place, there's no zoning for a dispensary in downtown LA where the store is at.
Yeah.
He figured out a loophole to create a kiosk delivery system.
Wow.
So he put let's call it a satellite dispensary, a little piece of a dispensary inside of his clothing store. So his dispensary that he owns, he put a kiosk inside of his clothing store that he owns.
Come on, kids.
And now now he can legally sell cannabis delivery from his clothing store. So now one business is feeding the other. Let me come in here, grab this, because
it goes hand in hand. Go merch into the dispensary, into the weed. Like everything is going full circle right there at that point.
Downtown LA. You're across the street from what was once the Staples
in a huge
Center.
market. Yeah, exactly. A huge market.
Yeah, now it's the blood and crypto arena.
Yeah. Well, that's why I try to tell you, like, in layman's terms, it's like being able to sell weed in a clothing store.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You own the weed store and the weed and the clothing
and the merchandise.
Store. Yeah, so it's like you whooping them from every angle. You can't lose like that. And then when one is down, it feeds the other. Like, oh, maybe nobody came to buy a T-shirt, but everybody coming to grab some za. Boy.
Exactly.
They coming to grab something.
And that goes back to the social media stuff. The popularity of the za, of the Trappuccino, of runts. The popularity is because the kids, or whatever's cool and hype on social media, that's what people are like saying, okay. Then they start showing, pictures of the weed. They're like, oh, this is that weed, this is that weed. Social media is a motherfucker because without that, you're not gonna we're talking about JCPenney catalog, something that's gonna be outdated for y'all. That's what you had to do back in the day, was look at the JCPenney catalog. They be like, oh, I want that shirt. Now it's like, you could go buy weed and a shirt in the same damn spot.
Damn.
Come on, man. The evolution of what we're doing is crazy.
Damn, BigBodyCisco really just referenced
I knew his ass was going to say that. I knew his ass was going to say that shit.
Gosh, damn.
So look, you're an entrepreneur in the Trappuccino game. You're a tattoo artist that is still doing like that. You're still paying your bills. How do those two coincide with what you're doing? Because you have to have clients to say, oh, what's that Trappuccino? Because you're tattooing for hours.
I'm feeding, like one, it's kind of like LB's business where one kind of feeds the other. And then it's dope because I have clients and obviously a lot of people, they are consumers of cannabis. And
they weed smokers, goddammit.
Yeah, and then, based on the state I live in and the legislation surrounding me, I don't sell anything in the state I live in. Just so we're clear,
Utah, Utah authorities.
I don't sell anything in that state, but
feds all watching this. Oh, there he is.
No, but it's but what's funny is that I have clients who are maybe like law enforcement or whatever. They want the merch.
Yeah.
They love them. They love me. They support me, and so they want to even though it's cannabis.
Exactly.
That's why we did merch, was because cannabis isn't legal in all 50 states, but you can sell a sweater in any one of them motherfuckers.
But the sweaters are illegal. The sweaters are legal.
You can sell a t-shirt
merch is
anywhere.
legal.
Yeah, all
so
day.
That's why it takes me back to your tattooing. When you're tattooing the likes of, because we didn't even get into this. When you're tattooing people that are on TV. Like we're talking about the Diesel brothers.
Oh yeah.
The Muscle.
Yeah.
You were at his house tattooing him. Like, see how everything goes for like it's like domino effect.
Yeah.
You're tattooing somebody like the Muscle from the Diesel brothers. That whole thing that got you eyes that you would never get in a normal aspect. You know what I mean?
No,
so you're getting eyes from the Diesel and the whole show and the Diesel brothers. That whole demographic is now wondering who's Lala Ellsworth.
Yeah.
How does that open up doors for you having eyes that you would never have in being regular?
Dude, man, I wish I had some like real business savvy explanation, but like I just fuck with cool people.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what I mean? And if you're solid, then you know they recognize that. So like
how did that come about?
It was funny. This is actually a funny story. So the Muscle is my boy. His name is Keaton. He's on the reality TV show called Diesel Brothers on Discovery Channel. He does a bunch of other stuff too. He's a big entrepreneur. I actually get a lot of my entrepreneurial
business savvy from him.
It's from him, man. That he a dog, man. He's out there doing 20 things at once. But so one time I tattooed one of my buddies. He's like he was a big dog for like Comcast or Xfinity. He gets this call from their big corporate office that, hey, someone who's important needs their cable fixed tonight. It was winter. He said he had overworked his whole crew. He don't go out, but he had overworked his whole crew, and he's like, you know what? These guys want to go home. It's Christmas. I'll run over there. Yeah. So my boy goes over to his house.
And you tattooed him?
Yeah, I tattooed my buddy. So he goes over there, and he walks into this big, beautiful house, and when he gets there, there's a bunch of Polynesian dudes in there drinking kava. And they were like, hey, which one's the homeowner? And it was Keaton, my boy, the Muscle. Yeah. He stands up and he's like, oh, that's me. What's up, man? He's like, oh, the cable, this and this. So my boy, he goes over there, razzle dazzle, gets the whole thing fixed up. So he fixes everything and he's like, oh, perfect. Thank you so much, man. He's like, so Keaton, the Muscle, he looks at my buddy. He's like, hey, you done for the night? You're all done? He's like, yeah. You want to come mix? He's like, do you want to just come mix?
So wait, Keaton's already mixing at this point before you even met him?
Yeah. So the
how was the backstory on that?
Man, this is the Diesel brothers. So they all grew up in Utah. Yeah. And these guys, they all grew up playing sports like rugby, and then they just grew up around other Polynesians.
Got it. So they were around the culture already.
Dude, people always trying to get me to verify Keaton. Like, why does he get to have all these Polynesian tattoos?
And we're gonna get into that too, but continue.
Yeah, but anyway, so these guys, they grew up around Polynesians. They've known Polynesians their whole life. Keaton specifically, the Muscle. His brother is actually Samoan and Tongan. He's Samoan and Tongan. Okay. Yeah, so what was once like Tongan, we call it pusiaki, when you kind of just like take them in and raise them. But,
now that's your brother.
Yeah, so that's what the case was with his brother.
Got it.
And then when they both went to college, he tried to sign their lease for their apartment. Yeah. Keaton goes and signs his. The Samoan Tongan brother, he goes and tries to sign it. He's like, oh, you're only 17. He's like, oh, well, what does that mean? Oh, your parent or guardian has to come to be here. So my boy, the Muscle's mom, comes over there to sign it, and she's like, oh, are you the legal guardian? He's like, no. Oh, you have to be the legal guardian. They went and legally adopted him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
just to do that.
Because he's like, this boy's been living with me for the last,
he's basically my son now.
So, and then he actually named his daughter after him too.
But wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, he's like, it's funny because
so they were already into the culture before he even got tattooed.
Man, they was deep into it. Like they drink kava like how we drink kava. And so they get over there. My buddy goes over there to do the job, and the job's done, and Keaton's just like, sit down, man, just come mix with us. He's like, you don't got nowhere to go, right? He's like, yeah. So he sits down and starts taking his sweater off, and everyone in there is tattooed. Yeah. But my boy takes off his sweater, and he has a newer one that you just did. And then Keaton's like, oh, who did that? Yeah. He's like, oh, it's my boy Lala.
Crazy, bro.
And then that's what started this whole thing, and then now he's like my boy. Yeah,
that's why, because I noticed that. So like when you were tattooing him, he brought you to his house to do it. You know, he didn't do it at the shop at first, right?
Oh yeah. Like so, I go everywhere. Yeah. Like I've tattooed him in North Carolina. I've tattooed him, but like he's just like one of the boys. Yeah, you know, like he's one of my good friends, and so. I mean, my kids call him uncle. You know what I mean? He knows all. Yeah, so it's like it's a lot deeper than just a client and
exactly. Well, we were talking about that, like not just him from the Diesel and the Muscle. We're talking about like if you're tattooing a football player and he's playing on Sundays or Saturday or on college or football. Like we're talking about Fred Frost. He always tattoos a lot of football players. When you guys are tattooing these athletes, these actors, these actresses, anybody in the public eye, they're a walking billboard for you guys at that point. Yeah, and you never know who's gonna see it and be like, hey, I want that same shit.
Dude, but it's crazy because obviously the quality of work is there. Yeah. But I think what really resonates with a lot of people is they get an experience with us. Yeah. Like It sounds real hippie and shit. But like, no, but when people come, like, I treat them like my family.
Oh yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it firsthand.
Like,
I've seen it firsthand.
I buy them lunch, man. I'm like taking care of it. I'm like, making sure they.
And that's your brand. Yeah. That's like your call. That's like your business card, right there.
But it's funny because like I didn't even, without me like just without like innately knowing what I'm doing, I was just raised like that. You take care of your people, so like. That's how I treat all my clients. That's how I treat all my friends and stuff. And people wonder why my business is like this because I always tell people, I'm like, man, there's other tattooers that can do what I do.
Oh yeah,
it's just that I feel like I give them. Yeah, there's more that I don't know. Maybe I'm. No,
and I'm glad you said that because people watching this, I want them to know that you have to make it your own. You can't sit there like everybody could tattoo, but like you said, it's the experience of going to go to the thing. You sitting down, bullshitting with them, having that whole experience. So each tattoo artist is going to be different. But if you get a Lala tattoo, you're going to have a good time.
You might eat some good food. You might drink some Offa's Kava over there. You might, you know what I mean? You might, all kind of stuff. So, yeah, people come in there and then we're drinking Kava in there. And then a lot of people, they trip out when like, so a lot of times as a shop, we'll just stop and everybody eats together.
Yeah.
Or at least you and your client will just stop and eat together and stuff. And they're just like, oh, you guys don't like split up and go do it? I'm like, nah, man, it's like
And I think that's something that comes from, Fred having his shop, other tattoo artists having their shops, and kind of taking little bits and pieces from what they're learning in their, their experiences. And I think they kind of make it their own when they do want to break off and say, hey, I'm going to do my own shop. You know what I mean? Yeah. But they want to take little elements of what they've learned, learning the whole vibe.
Oh, yeah.
Is a vibe is everything.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to be a tattoo artist, you're going to be an artist, whatever you do, if you create that vibe, and that's what I like doing here at Western Conference Podcast. Like if I have a guest that I don't know, that like real close, I kind of talk to them and make them feel comfortable that by the time we're done, they're like, damn, I was comfortable. I didn't feel comfortable at first, but now I feel comfortable. Yeah. But you got to build that experience because you'll get more out of them.
No, yeah. So, man, we ought to write a book, man.
And I know
for business.
Look, we're talking about the muscle. I know it's taboo to talk about who the famous people you do, but I think in a podcast, this is like the perfect place to say it. So name drop some of the people that you have tattooed that we've probably seen on TV or out and about.
Man, a lot of football players.
Yeah,
a lot of football players, and it was crazy because a lot of them were. I'm a big BYU fan.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Cougars. And it's funny because
so when you're a BYU fan and you got a tattoo a Utah Ute, what's the mindset of there?
Funny story. Like when I say I'm a big BYU fan, I mean like I'll fight a motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like I'm a big for
like Steve Young said, what? Hold up.
For years, I refused to tattoo Utah players.
Wow. See, that's just part of your
years.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, just because of like, I don't know.
Same thing with me. I don't let Raider fans come in here, and then Fiji broke that, and I had to put a fucking helmet in here for him. So, you kind of say, okay, I'm getting a little older. I'll go ahead and interview this one Raider fan.
So I found my Fiji, too. It was one of my boys' younger brothers, and I was just like, okay, I'm going to tattoo you, but don't say shit. So I tattooed one, and he plays football.
For Utah.
Yeah. And then he goes back to the locker room. He's going to practice. What the hell? I've been hitting up Lala for years.
So everybody's like, hold up.
So he blew my spot up, and I was just like, gosh, damn it. But yeah, as far as like my clients, like I have a lot of clients that are like football players, athletes, and then I feel like I get to have this cool situation, and when I tattoo all my different clients, I feel like Joe Rogan every day.
Yeah,
like
because you're talking to them.
Yeah, I'm talking to these people sometimes.
That's a podcast in its own right.
Yeah, so I tattoo some of the most interesting people you've ever heard of, and then the coolest one is that I've tattooed some of the most interesting people you've never heard of.
Yeah,
and like, man, some of the stories I've heard from these people, like they're the most interesting people in the world. Some of them I can't even like talk about, like it's because they're like,
Well, you're not talking about now because I asked you for names. You're not giving me no names right now.
You know what I mean? That's,
I'm trying to get the dirt right now.
Client confidentiality, man.
Oh, client confidentiality. That's what we're calling it, huh?
I'm not gonna be a doctor and be like, that guy, full blown AIDS. I'm not gonna do that. You know what I mean? But I tattoo a lot of cool people, a lot of athletes.
What about with the females too? Like I always see tattoo artists. They always go under the tit or the ass or, real close by the snatch or something like that. How does that whole process take about? Because I think I've been in the shop one time. I think you was doing it or somebody was doing it, and it was a nice ass. And I was just sitting there, I was like, cool, we're just going to do this in front of everybody? And I was just sitting there watching you, and you're like nonchalantly talking to me, and I'm like, I know he sees his ass that's in front of him right now because I see it. So when you said that, how does that go about where you're tattooing some ass?
Man, we're not going to skate past the fact that you just said snatch, tits, ass. In this climate right now.
But I'm just saying, I've seen the under, under the titty.
Yeah. So, dude, you know what's funny? A lot of people ask me these questions, and I just, as a tattooer, I mean, everybody's like, "Oh, you lie," but I'm like, I'm trying to do.
I couldn't do it because I want to make a bad. I'm like, you know what I mean? Because I would sit there, I'm looking around, and there's a nice ass titty. Like, oh, you right under the titty? It might get licked.
No, the best one I do it. I tattoo with one of my boys. This guy, he's an old biker.
Yeah,
he's old white dude. He's got like the handlebar mustache. Old school white boy, dude. I love this man, dude. I'm sitting over there tattooing some girl, and he said like the sternum.
Yeah,
you know the under.
Oh, is that what it's called? The sternum. I'm going to call them snatches and all the
animal. But I'm tattooing this sternum, and he's like, hey, is it pretty painful under there? He's like, yeah. She says she's in a lot of pain. Oh, I can help you numb it. And I'm like, how do you numb it? This guy, he went numb.
See, that's why I asked the question, because I keep watching you, Fred, everyone's tattooing this ass. And I'm just like, and then you guys are getting in there too. You guys are like, this is the ass, by the way. So you got the thumb, and then you like tattooing under it. There has to be, because if I'm the boyfriend sitting there watching it, I'm like, no, this is bullshit. That's like me watching the OBGYN just go all up in my girl's shit. Yeah. Like, cool, you find anything in there, brother? No, you good?
Yeah.
So how does
your wedding ring? No, but when it comes to tattooing like that, honestly, I'm more worried about solidifying my brand and making sure I'm solid.
Okay.
I just want to.
I needed to hear that.
I just want to do a badass tattoo, and then I don't know. I kind of
because I'm watching your social media. Like I know he grabbed that titty. That's a nice titty.
Yeah, it was funny because like everybody assumes that, but I'm just like, I'm trying to make this shit dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for let's say you have a little victory. Oh, I got to swipe over the shirt, swipe her titty over the shirt. I got a little, or maybe I got to cop a little squeeze here and there.
I just made this whole session so perverted about it, by the way.
That's a very, very small victory compared to just pulling off a badass tattoo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think...
And it goes back to the walking billboard, because now you have this bad female walking around with a bad piece that you've done. Oh, yeah. Now you got the other bad bitches like, hey, where would you get that from?
Yeah. And I don't mean to call y'all bad bitches, but if you tattoo a bad bitch...
You know what I'm talking about.
She knows all the other bad bitches.
Yeah, exactly. Because if a bad bitch got a nice tattoo, she's going to have a plethora of other bad bitches coming to you and knocking you down and say, hey, can I get the same shit?
Yeah, they come in with the phone like this, like, I want like this. I want one like this. No, but I just, quality of work, and then, sometimes in the shop... Like in the shop, like we're as Polynesian men, I feel like
we're all raised respectful.
So like I'm always like, hey, if you want, we can put the little curtain things up.
The little divider.
If it's uncomfortable or whatever, or if you feel Cisco's eyes on you, we can.
Let me just, for the record, let me not say I don't go into the tattoo shops just trying to look for tits and ass. I actually go there to see my brothers and say hi, and I just happen to look like the pervert. Like, oh, is that a nipple? Is you covered a nipple?
Was that dirty dark skin?
So you know what? That draws me back to my next question. And I've always wanted to ask, especially you, Fred, when someone that's not of Polynesian descent comes into the tattoo shop and says, hey, I want a full Polynesian tattoo. Now, in the industry, I heard it's taboo to say, oh, there's some tattoo artists that will do it, and there's some tattoo artists that won't do it. Yeah. What's your take on that?
So, man, I feel like...
And people need to see this, because this is going to be a good part.
This is something that I always have to go to bat for and tell people. So let's say if you see... Maybe you see this swole-ass white boy at the gym. He's got a badass Polynesian sleeve, and you go up to him and talk to him about it. He don't know anything about it.
Yes.
That's his artist's fault.
Yeah.
As an artist...
Elaborate on that. Elaborate on that part.
As an artist, so like, especially with us, because we do Polynesian tribal, it's not just art we're giving them. We have to give them a little bit of information.
And the background.
We have to give them a little history. We have to... And this is all things that we do to every client.
Yeah.
So let's say if we tattoo, like you see somebody, oh, what's this? What's this? I'm like, oh, I just got it because it looked badass.
Yeah.
Even if there's people like that, I educate my clients.
Yes.
I tell them, because... And
the reason I ask is, Lala, because not all tattoo artists educate who they're tattooing. And I run them because I've seen a lot of Filipino dudes, not nothing against my Filipino brothers, but a lot of Filipino dudes want Polynesian tattoos.
Man, I'll tell you right now, I've been tattooing a lot of Filipinos, and so Filipinos, when it comes to tattooing, they're basically like our kissing cousins.
Yeah, exactly.
We're related, but
that's
it's a little
part
bit
of
more
their story.
intimate.
Yeah, exactly.
Than that,
No, absolutely.
No,
absolutely.
but they have a very almost identical tattoo culture. The landmarks in life that they would reserve their tattoos for is almost similar, like almost the same exact thing like we do. And
so you try to intertwine their culture with the culture that they want,
but they
put
have,
it on there.
so Filipinos, they have
Designs.
a lot of traditional patterns and designs, and I just started doing a lot of them. Like if, I got 20, 30 Filipinos hitting me up every day trying to offer me like a bullet burger. Or
well, there was this big old thing on social media, and I think it was a lot of the older tattoo artists that were kind of saying, you guys are selling out the culture. Tattoo artists now, if you're giving somebody, like I've seen, when they do the full pe'a, and they're just like, oh no, I don't know why they did that, because they didn't do it the ceremonial way, how you were supposed to do it. Yeah. So when you fall into that thing, like what is your guys' take? You personally, because everybody's gonna have their different story. Yeah. What is your whole personal thing? If the older, tattoo artists that are real culture, real all by the book, real old fashioned, what do you tell somebody if they came up to you and was like, why are you selling out our culture?
Well, so I would say, if they were to do that, I would already have my whole thing lined up. But I think the biggest thing with Polynesians is that, like, say with the pe'a, when you get caught, you have to do it the traditional method, using traditional tools,
process
with everything. But if you were, because that's a traditional tattoo. Yeah. That's not just something for aesthetic. That's a part of your chiefly title. That now changes that, like, you're no longer this person. You're this person once you get that tattoo. And so with the traditional one, I would always argue that it has to be traditional. Yeah. Everything has to be traditional. When it comes to like anything done with a machine, contemporary work, that's up for it's contemporary.
Because I think that's one pressure that you guys as Polynesian tattoo artists deal with more than your regular tattoo artists, because they're not really doing the traditional how the Polynesian tattoo artists are. Yeah. And I think each artist you ask is going to have their different take on it. Yeah. And I think I'm kind of glad you kind of said you explain it to your client when they're doing it. Because I go to the gym now in Las Vegas and I see, I'll see like a black dude with an island tattoo. I'm like, okay. Then I'm thinking, oh, he must be Fijian. That was lightweight racist. My bad. I was lightweight racist. My bad. But I'm saying you see it. But then they ask you, like the white boy came up to me at the gym the other day and he was like, oh, can I tell you the story behind I didn't want to know the story. He just felt obligated to tell me, since I had my tattoos and he had his tattoo, he had to tell me why he got that tattoo. Oh, yeah. So I'm just saying, you're going to always fall into that question where people's going to have different answers. I just wanted to see what your take on it. You kind of being in there, because you got to do something like shit like that every day. Yeah, the debate is it's exhausting. Like, man, when, so Tali at our shop, Tali Homa, he got the traditional Tongan, they call it the tawaka. And all these people started arguing because they were like, Tongans is like, you guys. Oh, the debate was on. Oh, man. They was, you jacking our style. Yeah. That's Samoans. And I'm like, man, so when the debate between Tongan and Samoan people getting their traditional tattoo, whether it's the pe'a or the tawaka, like they were going back and forth of like, who did it first, who owns it, all this stuff. And then if you were at all like aware, no tattoo artist was getting involved with that. Yeah, exactly. Shit. We was just letting everybody blow, just get whatever they got to get off their chest and just let them do it. Because I was like, this is much deeper than what your guys' opinions are. Yeah. Us as tattoo artists, we already know the game. That's why we not even trying to argue with y'all. Well, because the politics, the politics has to be crazy in that. Because, like you said, as a tattoo artist, you have to take it upon yourself, or is it a prerequisite coming in to do tribal that you have to know your designs and know the shit with your tattooing before you do any of that? Is that how it is? So one of the the oldest living tattoo clan or family is like the Suluapas. Got it. The Suluapa family, the thing with the reason, there's a lot of tattoo clans and families that are in the islands, but the Suluapas are one that from the beginning of time when they first started until now, they've had an unbroken line. They've never lost their art of tattooing. They've always kept it and maintained it through all these years. They even brought tattooing to the modern world. Got it. And so this family, who's probably the most renowned, Suluapas. The Suluapas. So it's funny because I don't even know his real name. Like everyone just calls him the old man. Yeah.
And that's not even like a derogatory term.
Exactly.
That's the most like endeared term. When you call him the old man.
That's a term of endearment in Polynesian culture.
Yeah,
the old man.
We literally, everybody, we had a barbecue. Like, hey, let the old man eat first.
Oh yeah, that's how we're raised.
30 adults watched this old man eat his plate, and then we started eating. But anyway,
that's just how it is.
So the old man, he was kind of talking about it one time, and he was basically saying that like tattooing for Polynesians is one of those things where whether you get into it because you think it looks cool, because you know, whatever reason you think.
This is coming from him.
Yeah.
Got it.
Whatever reason you think you got into it for, at some point, you have to learn about it.
Yeah.
You have to. Like whether you did it just to look cool, whether you did it just to, you know, whatever you got into it for, whether you're the one doing the tattoos or the one getting them, life will present a path to you that like now you're forced to learn the history, the culture, all this stuff. And so he was talking about like some of the younger kids nowadays who like the kids that go and get the pe'a. They don't speak Samoan. They don't know their culture. They don't know their role within their home or their families and all that. And then they
don't know why they were supposed to, why they could have gotten that.
And so he was like, well, what do you think about these youngsters getting it that don't need it? He's like, oh, they have to.
Yeah.
He's like, these are kids who's growing up in a time where if they don't feel like they're forced to do it, they're just going to continue on with their life not ever having to learn it. Because they're just like, I don't have to learn it.
Exactly.
But now, let's say you get caught and you got these black knees, you know, you walking up to the party. And
I've seen it before,
and
bro.
everybody call you out. Hey,
I've seen it happen.
Come do this, come do this. And then when you don't know how to speak your language, you don't know your culture, you don't know the traditions, now you're so uncomfortable, you have to go learn it.
Exactly.
So he was just like, you know, whether we either cultivate this environment where everyone wants to learn it or we force them to learn it.
Because like, you know, his word is like bond. Like, so, you know, when the old man is telling the artist, and you guys kind of take it because that's also not just your culture. Yeah. You guys are also in the whole realm of tattooing. But when you start, this is the other question, my two-part question. When you have other artists that are not Polynesian and they're doing Polynesian tattoos, where does that fall in the politics of tattooing? Like if I just have this white boy doing pe'as on somebody as a tattoo artist, I'm like, hold on.
Yeah.
I don't think you're supposed to do that, right?
Yeah. Well, see, that's the other thing too, is that like, man, I actually know a few, but it goes back to that same principle that the old man said. Yeah. Whether you got into it to make money, whether you got into it to, you know, this, that, or the other, you're gonna have to learn that shit. Whether you want to or not, you're forced to do it now. So whether you a white boy from wherever the hell you're from, and you're doing these tribal tattoos, at some point or another, you're going to be forced to learn it. And
and you're going to have to be forced to explain yourself, because if you run into the wrong person, they're going to be like, why are you doing these tattoos? Yeah. And now if your explanation doesn't fit up to the game, then you get into the Polynesian part that you probably don't want to learn about.
But I always had this weird bone to pick with that, with like Polynesian people being gatekeepers of our shit.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Because Polynesians, we're the most entitled when it comes to, we're going to consume your culture, we're going to consume your culture, we're going to take every bit and piece of everybody's culture, and y'all got to be cool with that. As soon as you start enjoying Lupulu and shit, they'll be like, hang on.
Wait a minute.
Hold on, you know? As soon as anyone else starts getting in, you know, like starting to touch our stuff, then everybody's like, oh, hold on.
And it goes back to what we were talking. There's always going to be haters. There's always going to be naysayers in anything that we do in life. But at the end of the day, you being an entrepreneur, you being a tattoo artist, with younger generations watching this or listening to this, what advice do you have for a tattoo artist that may be a Palangi dude, may be a black dude that wants to do something like that, or just being successful in its own right? What is your advice to those people?
Man, when it comes, I'm not a very good businessman, whether it comes to tattooing, whether it comes to, I do e-commerce stuff too.
Yeah.
I do my cannabis stuff and all this stuff. Dude, I have no metric for like success or anything. Yeah. I just do what's fun.
Exactly.
I enjoy it.
Come on, Lala.
I enjoy it. I have fun. And there's a lot of people that make a lot more money than me, but my lifestyle is better than theirs. Like my life is better than a lot of people's lives, and some of them make 20 times the money I make. I don't
Preach
know.
to them, Lala. Preach to them.
For me, I just, some people chase the bag, some people chase a check, and I just kind of chase my lifestyle. Like, I do cool shit all the time. I do whatever I want, whenever I want. I can, you know, whatever. But like, I'm also like a dog when it comes to work ethic, man. I'll be out working any.
Because I said, don't downplay it so much where you forgetting about the work ethic, because your work ethic is crazy.
Oh yeah.
So like, if you're gonna play like that and you're gonna live like that, you better have a damn good work ethic to back that up. Because you can say that and just be some loser ass dude, but you can say that and have a work ethic like you have that I've noticed, and everybody think to do, because people don't see what I do behind the scenes. You do behind the scenes. They don't see the work ethic. Yeah. They just see us talking shit. Like, why are they talking shit so loud? Because we know what we have done.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that goes back to everybody that kind of says, oh, you're doing this podcast thing? Oh, you're not Joe Rogan. You get all the haters. Oh, you're not. I'm like, cool. I don't got to be Joe Rogan. I don't got to be this guy.
When you started, so Ray was showing me, shout out Ray Lyon.
Yeah, shout out Ray Lyon, man.
When Ray, if you ever tell Ray to keep a secret, he's for sure going to tell 6-7 people. But when when he showed me the first couple pilot episodes of the Western Conference, in my head I was like, they fucking did it.
Yeah.
They fucking did it. They made it, man. They did it, man. They fucking did it, dude.
But then on the flip side, there was the ones like, what are they doing?
No,
you know what
man.
I mean?
You got it. Man, as soon as I saw it, I was like, hell yeah. A lot of people don't know the game of podcasting, but podcasting can be very, I don't want to say lucrative, because it's kind of douchey.
Well, but I think podcasting is what you make it as well.
Yeah, but it's cool. You can affect a lot of people's lives. You can inspire a lot of people. You can do all these different things. So it's definitely multifaceted. You can make a living. You can inspire people, do all these different things. But as soon as I saw y'all get into it, and I was like, look at the production value. Look at the
man, shout out Sticky Paw Studio, man.
I was like, look at all this. I was like, man, look at this.
And I think that goes back to, I was telling Mustafa, anybody could have did the podcasting from the house. And how we were just kind of doing makeshift podcasts. Yeah. I kind of took it upon myself to say, okay, production value is everything. And to have any of my friends to come to the thing, I'm not going to tell them to come to the house to do the podcast. It's a little bit more exciting to come to a studio that kind of has the aesthetics of what we have here. And it's only going to get better from that. Duh. And then I think to do that and to bring you on, to bring, the guests we've had, Booyah Tribe, Fiji, and everybody that we've had in here, it's to kind of show them that we want to do it the right way. And I think with bringing you in here, people are not always going to know your story, but it's going to take podcasts like these to be like, hey, I don't really know Lala, but after I watched him on the Western Cover, he's kind of a cool dude.
Fuck with your boy, baby.
What's next for Trappuccino?
Man, right now, we got 2 new flavors that we just dropped, and I think before the year's over, we're going to have another 6, 7.
Because you're not selling any of this in Utah, but I'm saying as far as the brand goes.
Hashtag not for sale. No, we kind of have we kind of have big goals as far. So in less than a year, we got into the dispensary in California.
Yeah.
And so based on that, in the state of Utah, where I live,
it's trying to get legal.
Because they have we want to get into the dispensaries out there. We want to get in, because we have other products coming too, not just actual flower.
Well, there's actually, so we're talking about politics and tattooing. There's politics in cannabis as well.
It's big, yeah. So in the state of Utah, I kind of took it upon myself to kind of rebrand the whole negative stigma with cannabis, because out there it's a lot of
taboo,
Mormon soccer moms, and it has a real negative
bad light
stigma where it's if you smoke weed, you sit out in the garage and you don't you're a burnout. You don't do anything. But
you smoking the devil's lettuce. It's hold up. We're just smoking weed.
Yeah, man. But I want to. I'm kind of trying to do some, reform out there to kind of show other people that cannabis is not what they always thought it was. It's actually some of the most productive, high-functioning, successful people that I know. They're regular users of cannabis.
Absolutely.
And it was just that in Utah, they kind of do this thing where, say with cannabis, is that they'll imagine the worst cannabis user they've ever seen or encountered, and then they blanket they blanket everybody.
Put you guys all in the boat for that same person.
So,
but you having the struggle of being in Utah, that's not a legal state. Mm-hmm. So you're doing it with the merch now. So you have it with. I mean, it kind of coincides with what your branding is. Is it a struggle to try to get? I mean, I don't know how I say this, to get the weed out there into Utah, or you guys have to do everything in California. For now,
hypothetically speaking, anything can land anywhere.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. But no, but we definitely. I think it's crazy because I'm pretty well known in Utah. Yeah. I know a lot. It's funny because I have a lot of law enforcement friends. I got all these.
Yeah, I remember you doing a cop one time. I came in there
all the time. Yeah, it's kind of funny because but I I don't know. Like I want to do everything the right way. I want to do it legally, and I think because the way I've done it so far, I think that's why let's say if you're a law enforcement, like some kind of law enforcement in Utah, they see me then the way I'm doing it. I'm doing it the most
right way.
Admirable way I possibly can.
You're not doing it with dudes selling nickels and dimes on the corner.
Yeah, like
and you're like, say, come to the back. I got a little eighth for you. So you're doing it, like I said, in a way. But did you have to educate yourself on how to do that in a state that's not doing that? Because you can't just say, oh, anybody can start a strain. You got to have to educate yourself on the way to do it.
Yeah, so like, so if you're doing cannabis stuff, so everything we do is kind of like based in California, but we're trying to be I want Utah to be the hub, but like with us, you got to learn a lot of stuff. Like I've seen everything from cultivation and growing to processing.
Say that part. Because that's the part that I don't think some of these kids watch like, oh shit, he just got his own strain and did his thing. You got to do your homework on this shit.
We literally shout out to my boy who did the breeding and genetics, but we literally took 2 specific strains that had the flavor profile that we needed, so that when you smoke this, it tastes like an ice coffee. You know, when you smoke this shit, you feel like you a bad bitch and you should have a dog.
Yeah. So when you see all these,
you feel like you in Starbucks right there.
When you see all these exotics and it has the names and it has like, grape and bubble gum like that.
Profile is what
you have to be a mad scientist to get the shit to taste like the shit you saying that you have on the bag.
And it gotta have that strength.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You can't be selling no boof, man.
In the words of RBL, you can't sell no Bammer weed.
No, we got that shit. You see the Trappuccino, baby, that's the Bammer Hammer, my boy. That thing will knock anything out the park.
Is it tough juggling both careers, being an entrepreneur in the cannabis area and then being a tattoo artist, or it kind of goes hand in hand?
Nah, I'm a minority child, man. I grew up, I like work.
Yeah.
I enjoy work. That's why, like other people, they try to catch up to me with my little hustles and stuff I got. I'm like, good luck.
Yeah,
you gotta outwork me, and
and
I love this shit. You know what I mean? So like tattooing, I love it. And then even the Trappuccino stuff is it's cool because as an artist, I get to be more artistic and make merch and design our bags and do all these different things. And then it's kind of cool to just solve little problems in business and whatnot. So. Like, I don't know. I enjoy it. Like, as much as I wish I had some, like, weird ego that'd be like, oh, I just want to support my family.
Yeah.
Take care of my kids.
But no, this is fun.
I just enjoy it.
Yeah,
I just like it. You know what I mean? And
I'm kind of glad you said that because it takes hard work to get shit like this up off the ground. Trappuccino just didn't happen overnight. Lala Ellsworth, the tattoo artist, just happened overnight. They just see all the victories on social media. They don't see the losses and the L's you took but to get to this level. So that's why a lot of these people that are watching now, I want them to know we could bullshit about it and laugh about it, but it's like we've put in so much work for that reason to be like, hey, it's still a struggle.
Yeah.
You still got to do your homework. You still got to educate yourself in these, whatever you guys are trying to do. Educate yourself because the more you know, the more better off you'll be in building your brand.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You got to know every part of it. So, like, man, Utah's a crazy state when it comes to cannabis. So we have medical, right?
Yeah.
The law, man, now they're going to change the legislation. But, like, in the state of Utah, you can get caught with an exorbitant amount of cannabis. Like, a lot of cannabis.
Some packs.
Big packs.
Yeah.
So, like, and the law is that. I don't want to say a number, you know what I mean? I'm not going to say the number, but it's a big number.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if you get caught with this amount of pounds, as long as you don't have a scale, bags, whatever.
It's recreational.
As long as you can justify personal use, so no distribution stuff like bags.
There's like no baggies or
personal use.
And you know how crazy it's crazy to know that there's people in jail for a dime bag.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy to see that people are doing years off of having a little sack.
So this year, April 4th, I think that was when they passed that decriminalization. So it's on the way to federal legalization,
working on it.
But they did the decriminalization on April 4th this year. So decriminalization just basically means that if you went to jail for cannabis, you're going to start coming out. And it's pretty cool, the stuff that, like the infrastructure behind cannabis. So say if you went to jail, you did all these years for cannabis, and now it's legal everywhere. You get out, and just to kind of be like, my bad.
Yeah.
These people who are getting out for cannabis crimes, they're at the top of the list for dispensaries, grows, cultivation, all that for
because
licensing.
yeah, got it.
So
got
they're at the top of the list to get these licenses
because it wasn't legal when they got put in jail for it, but now that they are, they're getting pushed up to the top.
Yeah,
to say if you want to do this shit, you can do it. And now you're kind of like in a handful of VIP group that can kind of get to the front of the line.
So they kind of wanted just to be like, you know, the U.S. government was like, my bad.
without giving them any payback of the years of lives they lost.
Yeah, but you gotta be on point. You gotta know the laws. But Utah's a pretty cool state, and I think we're on the way to getting to the full recreational. But yeah, it's crazy.
Come on, we got to bring the bag over here. Let me grab that bag. We got to show the people.
Oh, this was let me grab.
So we got to show the bag so people can get familiarized with it. Right on, G. Thank you, brother. So. Man. We're talking about this is the brand right here.
So this is the pound bag right here. This is a whole pea right here, and then I don't know if you guys have like some some people who indulge in this. Where my camera at? Where my camera? You see this camera? This is one of our new ones right here. On. This is Zoo Nikes right here. This is it's not Zaza, it's Zuzu.
And how do you come up with each of these? Like, so if you have this bag and you have that bag.
You want to hear a funny story about Zoo Nikes? So my cousin and then when my business partner, we'll pull up to these pop-ups and we'll have a turkey bag and like everybody's smoking on it, like, oh man, that shit, that's the one. What's this called? They're picking up the turkey bag. There's no name on it.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't know what it is.
It could be named anything.
So in Tongan, the word ass is dungaiku.
Yeah. Don't tell me that this is what Zoo Nikes is. So this is the Zoo Nikes.
So this is we was like, as a joke, we was like, oh yeah, he's like, oh, that's the Zoo Nikes, baby.
Yeah.
It's like that what? He's like, Zoo Nikes.
Exactly.
That's the Zoo Nikes.
See, and that's
right
crazy
there.
because you can take those, like the story like that, you could take that and make it into a brand.
Oh yeah. And then this one is another cool one. This is Nutty Mac 11. So Pressure 91, that's a Nutty Mac. He's in the Bay.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Shout out Nutty Mac, man.
Nobody Move. That's another strain with Jokes Up. He's the head of security for LB. But the three of us, we teamed up and made this one too. This one got color. That thing darker than your auntie's elbows, man.
So that's just the color of the actual cannabis.
Yeah, but that one right there is him. Like this one, if you were to smoke this, like this is kind of like the high is real nice. It eases you into it, and it's like a real clean high. This one, that's just the Matrix, boy.
See, but
you do that.
You knowing your strain. What do you say to those that are just buying bags and putting bullshit in them?
Oh, you'll get found out quick.
Okay.
Like with us, we brand integrity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We got brand loyalty. We got people that
because they said a lot of that was going on because of you guys with the bags that were going. People were just buying bags and putting Bammer in it.
Yeah. But you get found out real quick.
Exactly. Shout out to my brother Burner because when you know it's not cookies, you know it's not cookies.
Oh, yeah.
They're just buying the cookies bags. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So these are some new ones, and then this was I brought this one just for you, man. Hold on. Let me crack this thing open. Let me get one.
G, you ready to roll up after this? Cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
See, I'm glad you brought this out because you know my whole story about the Lakers.
Yeah,
James Worthy
dissed you.
So for those who don't know, I was raised in Long Beach before we moved to the Bay Area, and I went to a basketball clinic. And we were Showtime Lakers, huge fan. My whole family's Laker fans. James Worthy, long story short, didn't sign my basketball, patted me on my head, tell me not right now. So I was like, fuck James Worthy and fuck the Lakers. So ever since that day, we moved to the Bay Area, and I've been a Warrior fan. So I'm not no fake Warrior fan. And I'm glad, see, that's what I'm talking about. I'm glad you brought the Warrior one because I was going to tell G to blur out the Laker jersey you had on.
This is a specific, I don't know if you read that. That's a Trappuccino Warriors right there.
Trappuccino Warriors. Jokes up,
come baby.
On, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you,
That's
brother.
for you, brother. That's for you right there.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
You know what I'm saying? Fresh out the plastic.
Come on. And for people that want to find you on social media?
So at Lala Ellsworth, and also the cannabis stuff, we're at trappuccino.jokesup.
Come on,
and
man.
then our link for the store and everything is on there. So right now, these is the only 2 jerseys.
Oh, so these are the samples?
No.
Okay.
We have the full production, but these are the first 2 I yanked off the thing. So
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, nobody got that right now. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out my brother Lala Ellsworth, man. I appreciate you coming over here, man. I just wanted everybody to know what you're doing because there's entrepreneurs like you that make the shit look fun. That people know. It's not just fun for nothing. The work ethic goes a long way.
Yeah, got to.
And I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah. Man, before we get it, where's my camera? Is this my camera?
There it is.
y'all better say what the fuck is up with this man. He got a whole ass podcast, beautiful production value. He got white people working for him in here. I don't know what other, if that's not the pinnacle of success, then I don't know what. Western Conference podcast, the most dangerous podcast on the airways right now.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Lala Ellsworth, your boy BigBodyCisco, the Western Conference podcast, man. Appreciate the love, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
I got the bucket. Bring me your cup, yeah. We getting complicated, so feel the rub, yeah. Turn up the music, it go good with all this mud, yeah. You know we mixing it up.